Each and every one of us has the choice of going for either of the Arsenal Showtime cards, Havertz, White or Jorginho, and today I will try to make this choice easier for you.
Here comes Pepe.
Welcome everybody! Let's begin with Kai Havertz. Should you get him? No, you probably shouldn't. Phenomenal finishing is indeed phenomenal, but the card itself is not so phenomenal. Giving the best sword to an average knight does not make him a phenomenal knight. Here is a well-rounded build, but honestly, you most likely have at least 2 or 3 cards in either of his positions that are superior to him. His offensive awareness, finishing and speed are good, everything else is more like okay. It doesn't matter if he's quite decent at passing and physical contact, because other strikers will just outperform him in so many other aspects that they are just more valuable than him. So unless you like the player in real life or have any other reason to get him, go for one of the other two. I would prefer Santos Neymar or even base Mbappe over this card any day of the week. If you want him either way, for skills, I'd recommend one touch pass and double touch. If you want the special double touch, add soul control and flip flap. If you want to use him as a target for crosses, as he's quite tall, you could think of getting aerial superiority and header. You might consider more points into aerial strength then though. Other than that, you could use fighting spirit, weighted pass, or any feint or any other skill you prefer. Let's move on to White. Should you get this player? You could. His defensive stats are decent, speed is good, and passing is good too. Amazing stamina. So if you have nobody with edged crossing, he could be your man. The meta has always been about defensive fullbacks, but recently, most likely due to Indominator's new formation, some people like to prefer one fullback that is not defensive. You could use White for this. In this build, I gave him a bit of passing, a bit of dribbling, a bit of aerial strength, but kept most points for his pace and defensive stats, as defending will still be his most important task. As for skills, I would give him low lofted pass, one touch pass, and through passing. Blocker also seems like a decent option. Having one slot left, it's getting a bit weird. He has no pinpoint crossing. Now I'll be honest with you, I have no idea about the interaction between edged crossing and pinpoint crossing. To be on the safe side, I would just give him pinpoint crossing though. If you don't want to give it to him for whatever reason, or are looking for an alternative for any of the other skills, you could go for aerial superiority, as he already has heading and his aerial stats aren't too terrible. Last player, Jorginho. Should you get him? You could. He seems like a budget version of Pirlo. Since I already have Pirlo, I'm leaning more towards White. In this build, I gave him excellent passing, dribbling and defending. His pace isn't amazing, but definitely playable. I'd say the card is quite similar to Ruben Neves, perhaps even a bit better, so pretty good. As for skills, I would give him double touch and fighting spirit. You could also give him flip flap to get the special double touch. Other than that, it's pretty much up to you. Gamesmanship is probably a good option. You could go for blocker if you want. Trackback might also be an interesting idea. About his special skill, visionary pass, it's a great skill, but usually you want it to be like the last or second last pass of an attack. And as a defensive or central midfielder, most of the time you are probably too far back to do these passes. Maybe if you're doing slower attacks with quick counter or possession, you'll have your defensive midfielder or central midfielder further up more often. But I'd say the skill might be better on an attacking midfielder. But it's a great skill to have nonetheless. So who should you get? I would say not Havertz. The other two are fine, get whoever your team needs more. If you feel like you need an offensive fullback, get White. If your team could need a solid orchestrator, Jorginho could be your man. If your team needs an excellent striker, yeah well, then you'll have to wait for another event. That's it folks, let me know if you liked this video, I'd love if you subscribed, liked or commented. Until then guys, take it easy. Shaka!